Hi. Today I had the pleasure to interview Jose, who is actually here with me. Hi, Jose. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm good.
That's good to hear.
So, Jose, we want to know a little bit about your life. So, I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
So, as of my understanding, you were actually born here, but your parents only speak Spanish and Spanish in the home, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, when you started kindergarten, how was it only knowing Spanish?
Well, for me, I don't quite remember that well, but I remember that there was other kids that knew much more than me, and it was a catching up process. I remember I had to go to other classrooms to in order to catch up to these other students who already know the language. And I believe it was quick. I remember I learned fairly quickly, but my parents weren't able to help me a lot, so that it made it a little bit more difficult for me. But my father tried, and he learned a little bit with us, and he tried his best, and yeah.
Oh, nice. How did you feel about that process about actually learning English as your second language? Were you pretty confident in learning?
At the beginning, I have to say that I was not that confident because I grew up in an environment where English wasn't really, like, we didn't need it because everybody worked farm labor, and I believed that I was going to do that for the rest of my life. But then as I grew older, I started learning that English was fundamental for if you want to become something greater here in this country. So I started learning English, and thankfully I did, and throughout the years I got more confident about it, and yeah.
Yeah, so how would you rate your level of English, like from the beginning to now?
So at the beginning, well, I have to say it was bad because it was my second language. I had to take the assessment test, and I didn't pass it until I was, I believe, an 8th grader, freshman year. And so it wasn't until I got to college where I started getting better and speaking more fluent and writing more fluent at English.
Did you have any experience with your teachers that eventually helped you, like a teacher that actually helped you out to go to college or like to actually learn English?
I do not recall any teachers actually pushing me to learn English a lot, but I do recall teachers telling me that it was fundamental in order to become something in this country. Like, for example, they told me that if you didn't know how to write correctly, that you might have not gone into college because it's important, and learning how to write in college was what you needed to pass.
Okay. And do you feel, have you ever felt discriminated or any, like in regards to your accent? Like, do you have an accent? Do you feel like you have an accent?
I do not feel like I have an accent, even though I know I have one. I have never gotten discriminated for it. Like, I've never seen no weird faces made it to me or anything like that. But I mean, I know I have an accent.
Mm-hmm. So, as of now, like, do you still struggle with a couple words in English, or how do you rate yourself?
I do not struggle with words in English. I technically, when I hear a word that I don't know, and I hear it in a sentence, I usually could figure it out.
Okay.
So,
do you tend to code switch with your language? How comfortable are you with English, and how comfortable are you with Spanish? At the same level? One more than another?
I think in writing I might be more fluent in English because I don't really know how to put the acentos on Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm fairly good at it. I feel that I'm more comfortable speaking Spanish. I feel like I sound more professional speaking Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's my first
Do you code
language.
switch?
Yeah. Well,
Like when you're speaking English and then you throw out a word in Spanish, or vice versa?
Like if I'm talking to a Spanish speaker, I could do it. Like a Spanglish, that's the term for it.
Mm-hmm.
I could do it, but if I know the other person doesn't speak Spanish at all, I won't. It's not a necessity to do because I know how to express myself fairly good. in English.
All right. That's pretty good. Okay, Jose, and what do you consider yourself, an introvert or an extrovert? Do you know the definitions for those?
Yes, of course I do. I consider myself more of an extrovert. I like to talk a lot. I tend to talk a lot. So
Okay.
I believe in an extrovert.
An extrovert. So do you believe being an extrovert helped you in the process of learning the new language, acquiring the new language?
Well, I believe it played a big part because of I used to talk a lot, even though I didn't know it, with my cousins and friends.
Mhm.
I'd start with little words like "bro," "come on, bro," and stuff like that. And my friends would talk to me in English, and little by little, that helped me because it embedded words into my vocabulary that I learned, and yeah.
So now that you speak English, we can say really good English, proficient English. How do you feel that helped you, like from where you started? Now I know that you're in college and you're working on a business degree, and you're pretty good at it. How do you feel about yourself? Like, how do you feel that you came so far from the beginning?
I mean, it feels great because since I was little and I didn't know the language, a lot of people told me that I wouldn't get far. And so I tried my best to prove everybody wrong. And yeah, it's like, it's just something great.
At a point, I thought that you said that you hadn't feel discriminated, like in faces, but actually, if a person would tell you that they don't believe in you, don't you feel that's a little bit of a cultural discrimination in a way? Because they're looking at you, not at your brain, just like what you know. You know?
Well, yeah, true, that's true, but it wasn't because of my language, it was just because of, I guess, me not really knowing much.
Uh-huh.
It had to do with me not knowing the language very well, but again, it was because I didn't know much. It wasn't it wasn't really because of the language. It was just me in general.
You in general?
Yeah.
Like, what in general of you? Like your, like how you look?
Not necessarily how I look, I guess, but how I acted.
How you acted?
Yeah.
Okay, but how did you act?
So I was hanging out with bad people, bad influences, and so that showed other people that I was not gonna do good in the future.
Okay, nice. And you proved everybody wrong, right?
Well, at least I hope so.
Do you know if you have something from your culture that they usually think of you, like when that you think like all Mexicans do this, or just because you're a Mexican you like this? Have you ran into something like that they've asked you because of your appearance?
Not that I can think of, but I mean, if we're talking
like-
about stereotypes, we could say that all Mexicans drink, and it's pretty close stereotype. But I mean, I've never drank in my life, so but people thought I did for some weird reason, just because I was a Latino. But I mean, yeah, if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much, Jose. That would conclude our presentation. And I would like to thank you and congratulate you of how far you've gotten, and because you have a very extended vocabulary.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.